Setbacks leave you feeling stuck and frustrated. How would your life change if you could consistently turn adversity into opportunity for growth? Hey there, everyone. I am Vernita, and we are talking about resilience in the face of adversity, transforming mistakes into opportunities. And we're going to take some lessons from the Olympic Games and from the Olympic athletes who know how to turn failures into medals. So, over the next 10 days, we're talking about 10 lessons, and hopefully in 10 minutes that we can get you those lessons. So, whether you are an athlete or an athlete in your industry, these are some things that can apply to you. One moment that I want to talk about when we're talking about resilience in the face of adversity, first of all of the Olympic athletes have faced some type of adversity. Same thing in life. Some are more tragic than others. Some of them make, I know, sorry to say this, but better stories for TV. But everyone has faced adversity. So when you are in the midst of whatever you are going through, one, don't feel sorry for yourself because others have overcome. But two, I do want you to understand that it is real to you, so don't minimize it either. And then three, don't use your adversity as an excuse because, like I said, someone has overcome more than you, who's gone through things, worse than you, and they've overcome it. Someone who's gone through less than you have overcome it. So don't put yourself in a victim position. So just understand that there are different levels, but everyone has overcome them in some shape or form. One of my favorite stories is the U.S. Grant Fisher, who won the bronze in the 10,000-meter race. I think that's what 6.2 miles or something like that. And he ended the U.S. drought. I think the last time we had a medal in that, we as United States had a medal in that, was in 1964. So there are a lot of things he had to overcome to even get that. So many races and wear and tear on his body. But I just like that story of him overcoming that. And just as a U.S. went, not saying that he had that type of pressure on his shoulders, but the adversity of the U.S. men not winning that event at all. And he came in and took a third place in the world events, for that. And then you have athletes like Suni Lee, who won medals after battling kidney disease. And then, of course, the great Simone Biles, who came as quote unquote old for the event at 27, who had to drop out due to the twisties and mental illness, and just all the other athletes. Those are just some of the highlights that I want to talk about. But you're like, so if these athletes or these young people can go through so much with the world eyes on them, and not just at the Olympics, the world looks at them all throughout the year in these different competitions. And I said young, there are other athletes who I think the oldest that I've heard was 45, which is amazing, for that to be at that certain level. But even think of the adversity that she had to face to make it to the games. But a lot of them have had mistakes going in. I brought up the bronze medalist who ran the 10,000 meters. I don't think he, you know, won any of his heats, or you see, if you watch any of the Olympics, that the U.S. athletes, they fell off the beam but still came back and won medals. So think about a time in your life where you have fallen down. I have personal stories, that I just flat in my face, punched in the mouth, right? But still showing up even to do these videos and come up with new ways to support, help clients get new clients to go further and to challenge myself. But put yourself in those positions. You had a setback and you've overcome it before. So even if this setback that you're currently facing has been greater than any other setback, you have to look at the overall, like, okay, if I did it before, I literally can do it again. So some things that we can talk about is understanding the coach and the mentor. And why do I keep bringing up coaches and mentor? And that will be an ongoing theme throughout this. We cannot get to certain heights alone. Even for people who have gone to college, and you hear me reference college a lot. They've gone through college, we hear stories from homeless to Harvard, and it looks like, she did it on her own or he did it on his own, but they had professors and guidance counselors and, maybe cafeteria staff who helped them along the way. So you still need the role of a coach or a mentor to help you navigate in overcoming those setbacks. Could you sit there alone and go through some things and journal and process on your own? Absolutely. But I believe that you're wasting time to bounce back. You can do anything on your own, but we're really talking about getting to a level where it doesn't knock you down completely and you stay down. These athletes in these games, they immediately check in with their coaches when something isn't right because they don't have time. They have to get right back out there within a day or two to make sure they're still in the running for those medals. So any mistakes that they're making, they're not waiting, oh, well, that's it. I'll wait to the next 4 years because the 4 years aren't promised to you, right? They are making those quick adjustments when they make those mistakes because they have to continue the race and the same thing for you. So if you don't have someone that you can check in to help you navigate, then that's probably why you are stuck every time you have a setback. And then you also have to develop a growth mindset. Yes, mindset sounds woo woo, but it's getting better, but I still think it's thrown around too casually. And it's not enough about just thinking positively. There are things that you literally do in your mind. So, one example is you will hear a lot of athletes, there was a point in time where I was an athlete, I was a cheerleader and a dancer in college. And you go through those routines. We did competitions over in your head. You are going through every single step. And that is part of an exercise. So, in your business or in your professional life, your personal life, what can you mentally go through in your head that you're practicing for? That's part of a growth mindset. Also, belief in yourself. You'll hear a lot of the athletes when they do the interviews. I believe that I could do it. I didn't know I could not do it. There was no choice but for me to do it. There's a lot of self talk in there. So, that's another way to expand your growth mindset. And again, with a coach and a mentor who put you through these mindset and mental practices. I have coaches that I go through mental exercises with first God ultimately for and first and foremost. That's the number one mindset coach. And then we have our practical ways of doing things as well. And then really learning about those failures, turning them into learning experiences. And I know a lot of people say, well, failure is just feedback. But if you really take that seriously and not just some cliche, then you go back and look at that's part of that accountability we talked about in a previous lesson. Oh, yeah, this is where I mess up. This was my mistake. Or sometimes then we've seen in some of these races, that wasn't me. Somebody tripped over me. That wasn't my fault. But you know what? I learned. What can I do next time to make sure I avoid that? Here's a bonus. Some of the mental exercise that you can do is going to that worst case scenario and taking your body through that to see how you would react in a situation. You hear these athletes, they plan for everything possible. Now there will always be some surprises, but you'll be surprised about what you can plan for that could be a surprise, but that's not actually a surprise. And that's one of those things that how you turn failure into feedback and you're learning from that through reflection, not just sitting there thinking, but you're taking yourself through those mental processes and steps on what could you have improved, or if this happens, how would you react? Because we see that these athletes, they have to react in like milliseconds. I think there was a one situation where Simone was going on the bar. She didn't have enough height. So, or it was either Simone or Suni that didn't have enough height. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to miss this. So instead of me, you know, falling off the bar, I need to adjust my body. She didn't have time to go consult with her coach. She had already prepared for that with her coach, and she made that adjustment in the moment. And we can do that too as the athletes of our industries. So, some things that you can do is make sure that you engage with a coach or mentor to analyze those setbacks and extract those lessons. Sometimes we ourselves cannot see those things. Our friends cannot help us see those things, even if our partners or significant others. You need someone who's objective, a coach, strategist, mentor who can see beyond what you can see, who will tell you the truth when it's time for you. It was your fault. I need you to own up, or take that pressure off yourself. This was not your fault, but this is what we can do from that. So having someone to help you analyze that is something that we did all the time when I was a professor. I looked at videos of people who were teaching, speaking, all those things to constantly review on how to get better. If you've gone through college, you've done this before where you had to revise and resubmit papers and things like that. If you're in a profession where you've written journal articles, you had to revise and resubmit. So some way, somehow we've lost that in business and in our professional lives to get that necessary feedback. And then you have to practice resilience building exercises. One way to do that is role playing, similar to what I said before, where you take yourself through the steps, but also role playing with a coach or a peer who may be in the same program or same industry and help you walk through that process. We underestimate the power of role playing. They do a lot of that in counseling and therapy. When I coach, and I consider now looking back and how I look at things, even when I was a college professor, I was coaching, these students to become teachers, to become administrators who went on to be like superintendents and things like that. There were things that I coached them on going through that process. We role played, we got into groups. I remember when I was a grad student and, before AI was a thing, we had AI back then where we put our students through these simulation models, for parent teacher conferences and things like that. You role play. That's how you start practicing your resilience, because if an avatar can beat you down and you get that experience, when it happens in real life, it's not such a shock. And you're like, it may, set you back a little bit, but it doesn't knock you completely flat off your ground. So that's how you transform those mistakes into opportunities, and that's how you turn those failures into your version of a medal, whether that's a better relationship, something in your weight release or weight gain, transforming your body, or making, that first million, 100 million, $1 billion in your business. Those action steps, adversity is going to come. It is what you do when you're faced with that adversity. So you can learn more about how to do that at our upcoming virtual expo, From Resume to Reinvention to Remarkable: How to Shift from an Employee Mindset to an Entrepreneurial Way of Thinking with Ease. It is a pre-recorded event, but I do invite you to show up through that window, because there is such a special opportunity that happens, in the VIP stages. So you want to stay connected with that. And if you miss the event and if you no longer see it, I do invite you to join Master Coach U. That information is also down below. So as we wrap up this lesson, I want you to remember that when you learn how to turn your adversity into opportunities for growth with a strategic plan, notice I said strategic, then you minimize or you eliminate the feeling of being stuck and frustrated, because you know exactly what to tweak to get you to that end result.
Are you making your dash dazzle? You know, that gap between your birthday and your sunset? If not, you're doing a huge disservice to your community, to yourself, and to your family. Hi, I'm Vernita White, and I want to welcome you to the Virtual Expo, From Resume to Reinvention to Remarkable. This isn't just an event, it is a movement to bankrupt the burial plots. Now, you may be thinking, well, that sounds a bit morbid, or what is that, and how is that even possible? Well, keep listening. I've curated a special group of experts, and together we're going to show you the benefits and importance of being able to shift from an employee mindset to an entrepreneurial way of thinking with ease. Now, your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations are way too big to be contained in a box of your current situation or trapped in the mind. And my guests have figured out the secrets to what it means to truly get out of your own way while you're still living on this planet. They are ready to reveal these secrets to you so you can turn those possibilities into reality and make your dash dazzle. So what inspired me to take on this huge task? Well, before I was born, I learned that my grandfather had an opportunity to purchase some land, and before it turned into a major tourist attraction. He also wanted to start his own barbecue venture. Then later on, my mother had a vision to become a major Christian author and speaker for women and young adults who wanted to understand the Bible in a practical way. But unfortunately, in 2012, both my grandfather and my mother passed away 3 weeks apart, and all those ideas and dreams went into the graveyard with them. Now, every time I visit the site, I see new plots, and I can't help but wonder what inventions, communities, or businesses will never get to experience, because maybe that person thought they had more time, maybe they didn't have the courage to get started, or they lacked the persistence to keep going. Or perhaps they got too comfortable with the success they already had and didn't go for more. We'll never know their reasons, but right now you have a choice, and I don't want you to live with any regrets. So I'm launching this movement to help you step into more courage, persistence, and ways to think bigger. As a former mathematics teacher and college professor, I understand your need for a plan and wanting the step-by-step to get the right answer. So consider this virtual experience as a series of secret formulas only for the people who are ready to embrace their brilliance, explore new possibilities, and expand their minds for bigger goals, and finally achieve the results that will leave an impact on this planet. I felt myself heading this way. Even with all my degrees and accolades, I knew I was hiding behind comfortable success, and the tug to do more was getting harder and harder to ignore. So if that sounds like you, or you want that to be you, in the box next to or underneath this video, there's a place to insert your name, email, and phone number to get access now. When you click get access now, I'll send you an email right away with all the details for this curated virtual expo. Now imagine this, the expo is over and you let out a sigh of relief because you finally heard that one thing that clears some of the messiness in your mind that has been blocking you from the money or the manifestation you needed to catapult you into being the solution to hundreds, thousands, or even millions of people. That's the feeling of being remarkable, and you deserve that to feel like that every single day. Be sure to enter your name, email, and number so I can give you something extra special before the virtual expo begins. It's time to make your dash dazzle, and I'll see you on the other side.